Oh man, we're on a roll here with the word problems. Here we go. Number 6. It says, determine graphically the dimensions of the rectangle with an area of 15. Wait a second. Area means length times width. So length times width equals to 15, looks like inches squared. And perimeter, which is length plus a length, width plus a width, so 2 lengths plus 2 widths has to equal to 16 inches. Oh my goodness. Well, there's right there. There's your system. Look how beautiful that is. L times W equals to 15. 2L plus 2W equals to 16. How pretty is that? Oh, so beautiful. But look what I've got here. I've asked you to graph this as well. It says graph this system, but look. That means length is L. That means that is your Y value. So you have to rearrange this into Y equals 2. So length is your Y value, so we always solve for Y. So length times width equals to 15 eventually becomes length equals to 15 over W. Don't forget, divide both sides by W, you get 15 over W. Rational expression, non-permissible values. Y can equal to 0, which tells you also that Y is your asymptote. Y equals to 0, or I should say X equals to 0 is your asymptote. There you go. So what's this guy going to look like? Well, in fact, this guy's going to come down in this section here, something like this, boom, and something like this, boom. And you know what that's going to look like. Oh my goodness, that looks terrible. And you can find that just by putting it on a calculator if you're too worried about figuring that out. Do the same thing to this guy. Look at this. You can actually divide the whole thing by 2. This gives you length plus width equals to 8. Solve again for length. So you got minus W plus 8. So what 8 way up here, minus W means down 1 over 1. You're going to get something that kind of looks like that. So you're going to actually have 2 intersects here and there. This one, who cares? Why? Why do you not care about that? Because of course, all the values here would be negative, which would tell you you've got a negative length and a negative width. So of course, your answer is not going to be down in this section. It's going to be in this section right in here. Now, look how awful that diagram is. It's a terrible looking diagram. You can't solve anything from that. So if you want, sure, throw that into your calculator and away you go. But you know what? I'm going to show you something a lot easier. If you noticed here, I've got my length and I've got this going already. So all I have to do is substitute. I'm just going to substitute that right in. This gives me 15 over W minus W plus 8. Look at that. All of them have to be over 1. Common denominators, right? Boy, does this ever look familiar. Oh my goodness. Look at this. You end up getting, check this out. Cancel out the common denominators now because there's an equal sign. You can only do that if there's an equal sign. This gives you minus W squared plus 8W. Bring this all over to the other side. Here we go. Look, W squared minus 8W plus 15 equals to 0. Look at this. TSA it. Look, your W is equal to minus 5 and minus 3. So W equals to 5 and 3. So your width could be 5 inches or 3 inches. You decide. But verify this by plugging it back in and finding the length. And here's the length formula right there. Length equals to 15 over W. Well, let's try each one of them. Let's try each one of them. Length is 15 over, let's try 5. Well, the length would be 3. Oh, that's interesting. That'd be 3 inches. Or we can try the other one, which would be length equals to 15 over the second value, which is 3, which works out to be 5 inches. So which one do you choose? Well, guess what? Length could be either 3 or 5 inches. Width could be either 3 or 5 inches. So, well, guess what? They're interchangeable then. Length we usually say is the longer side. So let's let that be 5 and the width be 3. And let's see if we actually get that. Let's go back to original. If this was 5 here, and I'll just use a different color. If this was 5 and this was 3, look at this. 5 times 3 gives you 15 inches squared. And then if this length was 5 and this was 3, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 times 3 is 6, gives you a perimeter of 16 inches. Look at that. Oh, that should have been inches squared. 16 inches and 15 inches squared for your area. So that works just beautiful. So your answers, don't forget to tell me, is 5 inches, which is the length, and your width is 3 inches. So again, I still think that algebra wins out over the calculator on this one, Dave.